How about now? Can you hear it? Okay. Sorry, I was having a technical issue. I think I may have muted the mic. Hey Natty. Hey Mary. How's it going? Okay, so everything's okay? Sound-wise good? Okay, so we're going to get started. Today we're going to be making a beefless korma. So there's a couple of different substitutes you can use for beefless dishes, but I like to use this textured soy protein here. I'll show you what it is. It's dehydrated. It's really nice. You could also use, like, if you've got garden or anything like that, the steak, what's it called, the beefless steaks, you could use that as well. But I use this textured soy protein. Right, let's see if I can get. It's by King's, so it looks like a little cookie almost, I guess, but it's dried, right? And you have to rehydrate it. So it takes about 30 minutes or so to rehydrate. But so what I normally do is I take this, I put it, I put like 15 to 25 in a Ziploc bag. Where do you buy it? Oh, I buy it. There's a local vegetarian, vegan distributor that we use. They provide this kind of stuff for restaurants and stuff, but it's here in Canada. If you need any details to where to get this, just hit me up in my post, and I'll respond back, or DM me, and I'll try to see if I can get a link and put it in the YouTube video as well. So yeah, so this product is what I'm going to use, but you don't have to use this product. You could use garden or any type of soya. You can even use mushrooms if you really wanted to. So what you have to do is you have to take this, put it in a Ziploc bag, and then fill it with water. Try to push out all the air, right? And so, like, put it in a Ziploc bag, fill it up, put some water in it, and just let it sit for 30 minutes to an hour, however long you have. And then you have to go through a process of cleaning it. So what I do afterwards is, once it's gotten soft, you kind of have to wring it out, right? Let all the liquid out, and then put more liquid back in, squeeze it up a couple times and wring it out, put the liquid back in, wring it out, put the liquid back in. So to kind of save us for time, I've gone through the process, so I'll show you what the difference is. So this is a hard one, and then this is the the rehydrated, so dehydrated and rehydrated. So it's so much lighter, right? And I like these because what they've done is they've stamped it with like a texture, so it kind of looks like, it's kind of got like a beefy type texture to it. It doesn't have the flavor as much, but it's got a good texture to it, right? And I've actually given these away in one of my giveaways, one of my sweepstakes, I guess. So I've rehydrated this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, so I've got like a whole handful here, right? I'm going to put them into a curry and let that marinate. So I'm going to start off by getting the water going for the curry. So I've got a pretty decent sized pot here. Right, I'm going to turn it up to high, and I've got half a cup of water. Right, I'm just going to put that in there so it can get going, and I'm just going to toss this directly in there. It's just water for now because I just want this to start heating, and not have to worry so much, because once I put together the curry and add the curry into the dish, it'll start to absorb everything. So not to worry so much. And then I'm just going to grab a lid. So I'm just going to place the lid on top of it so it can heat up faster. So now I'm going to show you the simplest, best tasting curry sauce recipe I have. Right, it's so quick and it's so easy. So I don't know if you have a small blender like this, but it's like I think it's, oh, this is part of the song. That's kind of interesting. I heard a beeping and it was part of the song. It's a little Ninja blender that I use when I'm traveling, so I can make smoothies on the go. But I've been using this for sauces. So you take one of these, right? Like you can use your traditional blender, right? And you get your veggies. I'm just gonna give this a quick rinse. So you can put them up so that more can fit into the blender, right? So I've got two small, I'm going to say, Roma oranges, not oranges, tomatoes, and I'm going to place them into this little blender, right? I'm going to grab half an onion. Now you can just, based on how you like the taste of this, you can just start to change the ratios to see what you like better. I would suggest starting off with half an onion or so, and then you can kind of build up. But what I do like to add is garlic. So I've got about 6 cloves of garlic. I'm just going to give you a better shot of what I'm doing over here on the prep side. So I've got my tomatoes and my onions in here, right? And I'm just going to smash these down, garlic. So I can just take the peel right off. Right. Drop those in there whole. Don't worry about mincing them finely because it's going to turn into a sauce pretty soon. Good. That one's in there. In there. Okay, and then to make this more of a korma, hey everyone. I'm going to take a carrot, so I'm not going to take the full carrot. I'm going to take about, I'm going to say about 3 inches of a carrot. I am going to chop it up a little finely because the larger you leave this, the harder it is to add more components to this blender because it's a small blender, right? So now the pot's going nicely. I'm going to reduce it down to medium so that it doesn't cook out too fast. And okay, so I got the carrots in there, right? I'm going to take some ginger, right? You can take about, depending on what your taste are with ginger. I like adding ginger to this dish, but you don't have to add a lot. So I'm going to say like a little square cube. And the great thing about this is, I don't know if you've ever had ginger in food. When you bite into ginger, it's like a real shock, right? When you add it to the sauce, it's going to become smaller, right? Ginger is a little bit harder of a root veggie, so I'm just going to chop it up into small pieces and then put them into the blender, right? And then, so now we can start with, so those are the fresh ingredients. So I also had these red chilies, right? So they're basically dehydrated chilies. I like my curries hot, so I've got about 6 of these. You could put anywhere, whatever your tastes are. So I'm going to just push this down a bit, right? I've also got a stick of cinnamon, right? I'm going to just smash this with the back of my knife and break it and put it in there as well, right? And now we can start with the dry spices. So I've got curry, right? I'm going to take half a teaspoon curry, put it in there, right? I'm going to grab some paprika. I'm going to put 1 teaspoon of paprika, right? And you can take some cumin. So depending on how you cook, sometimes I use garam masala, which has a variety of different spices. I'm just going to put like that wasn't it, but half a teaspoon of cumin, right? And then pretty much what I believe that all curries need is turmeric, right? So I got perhaps some turmeric, and I'm only going to put a half teaspoon of turmeric in there. How's everybody going over here? Hey, Steph, how's it going? The sound is really low. Oh no. Are you talking about my mic sound or the music? How's that? Is that a lot better? I turned down the latency a bit, so hopefully that's going to help. Okay, so I just got my curcumin in there, and then I want to take some black pepper. You don't have to use ground black pepper. I'm just going to use some black pepper balls. So you could put about, I'm going to say, about 5 should do it. And that is the curry. So most of the stuff you should have. If I know most people have paprika, but curry, if you don't have it, you should get it. Cumin is a good spice to have, especially if you're making Mexican dishes and stuff like that. It's great for Mexican dishes. Turmeric, I would say it's a must-have, but I haven't really used any, exotic items in this recipe. So hopefully it's easy. The red peppers, you could always substitute it for, let's say a little bit of cayenne pepper or something like that, or whatever spices that you like. So we're going to take this and we're going to add a little bit of water. I'm just going to use my water that I'm drinking. Right? So we got a little bit of water in there. Push this down. So Now, normally I would also add some coconut milk if it's in a powdered form. So I have this coconut milk powder that I love to use. They're like these little Grace packages. I might be out of it, but I have fresh coconut that I froze, a couple days ago. So I want to utilize that. I don't want to keep that in the freezer and get kind of lose track of it. So I'm just going to use that, and I'm going to put it in the dish when I'm ready. So I've got this, right, and I'm going to put it into my little blender here. And to save you guys from going deaf, I'm just going to mute my mic, and I'm going to blend this up, okay? Wait, hold on. Let me set it up so you can see. Right? Okay, and I'm going to mute the mic. There's one thing I did forget to add. So for this curry, I like to give it a little bit of a sweetness to it. So I will add 2 medjool dates. So it's good. It was a little clogged up because I put so much in there. So I'm just gonna open this up. It's like a nice thick sauce right now. I'm gonna take out the seeds from the medjool dates, right? And I'm just gonna drop them right in there. You know what? I might have some room. This is my coconut milk, so it's about half a cup. So I'm just gonna, you know what? I'm gonna toss it right in there. Should have enough space. Hopefully I have enough space. And just add the rest later. Wash my hands. I did overflow it a bit. That's okay. The funs of live cooking, right? Finger. Will it burn? All the fun. Oh. Speaking of will it burn? Ow. Didn't burn, but it got pretty dry. I'm just going to move it over to too soon. Just give me a second. I tried to set up the camera in one spot so I didn't have to move it, but maybe I should have. To make this easier, I'm just going to grab another pot. Sorry about that. Just got really dry. Some of them stuck to the bottom, but I didn't want to have to deal with that mess. Okay, so we've got it back. in a pot with some hot water, right? We've got this now ready to go. I'm just going to mute you guys. That was funny. It did not explode on me, so that's a great thing. So now, let me just shift this back. There we go. So we've got the sauce here, right? I'm just gonna pour it right in. It's a little slippery. Just pour it right in here. Nice hearty sauce. Let's go aside. I'm going to reduce the heat down to medium. Yep, that's what it should have been. And I'm just going to mix this stuff now. So I'll show you what it looks like. So now we're going to just let this sit, and it's going to absorb nicely with the curry. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I did not stage it. Okay, so we've got that going now. So just be careful when this, when the curry gets too thick, it will start to splash. So just be careful and make sure you stir it and let it kind of absorb, right? So what we want to do is, if you weren't here for the beginning, what we want to do is we wanted to reabsorb, right? So it was dehydrated, it was dry, we rehydrated it, and then I squeezed out all the liquid, and now it's going to absorb the liquid again, but the curry flavors, right? So that spice right here, and that nice paste, tomato being the base with some onions and garlic, carrots, and all the curries, right? It's going to be nice and thick. I'm just going to add a little bit of coconut oil in a cup. Just going to add that back in. And so that should be done from the curry perspective. We're just going to let it sit for probably another 5 to 10 minutes and just watch it so it doesn't splash. How's the sound now, guys? Is everything better? You don't hear any music, but I can hear you clearly. Yeah, so I'm on, I've got this live streaming on YouTube. So I've got a better setup on YouTube. You could see down into the pot. You're going to be able to see the pan because I'm going to be making some parathas now. And then I also do the mukbang, which is eating while I talk to the audience. So normally I just continue that on the YouTube side. But great, yeah, it's great that you can hear me. As everybody's Friday. I can't believe it's Friday. It just, this week felt like it went so slow. We finally made it. But honestly, I like every day of the week. Just some days are different. You do different things, right? Like, so for me, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I run in the mornings. And then Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, I'll do like a Muay Thai Zoom class, a bunch of people. So it's, you know, it's different on those days, but bottom line, living a good life, right? Enjoying life, even through this pandemic, right? A little bit better. I think oh, you cranked it up on your TV. So I'm hoping it's not too low on the replay then, because I have the mic. The mic is literally right here, right? So if I put my finger right here, I'm touching the mic. And the setup's pretty good, unless it turned out. No, everything's turned out. On the amplifier side, I only changed the cables. Yeah, so I have like this mic boom, mic arm. So yeah, I'm just going to continue to mix this a little bit until, because it's going to splash if you just if you don't do anything with it. But I like when the sauce gets thicker. This is also really good for like next day. It's pretty good. So I'm going to reduce it down to low now, so it just does like a light simmer. And I'm going to place the lid back on so it doesn't splash all over my my stove top here. So now what I'm going to do is, oh, you know what? I forgot to add. This is fine. So from a veggie component, I'm going to put half a cup of cheese. Half a cup. So I've got frozen peas here. Just going to toss it right in there and mix that up. We'll be ready to eat in the next 5 minutes or so. Did I miss any questions on here? Oops, sorry for the shakiness. So it's starting to thicken up, which is good. Give it a little taste test. Okay, it's got a good spice level. So I'm just going to heat up this, so I've got like a flat pan. You can use just a large pan if you want. Didn't have enough time to make parathas from scratch because it's only going to be like an hour, right? So I've got these. I don't know if you've ever seen these. You can buy them at the Indian grocer, right? They're really good to have just in case of in case of emergency. There's a Shana brand. I've checked the ingredients. It looks like they're all vegan, plant-based, right? So I always double check. So it says the margarine is oil-based, palm oil-based. So it's got wheat flour, water, sugar, margarine. This is palm oil-based. Green chilies, garlic, salt, and baking powder. Okay, so they come in a 5-pack. So, and they're nicely separated. Right. Take one of these little bad boys off the plastic. Toss it right on there. You can see the magic happen. Just gonna get a spatula. Steph, how's it going? I know it's early there. We got a hot one today. It's like, it was like 16 this morning, Celsius, and it was pretty nice outside. So you can't see it. You know what? Let me see if I can just turn the camera down for you guys. I don't know if this is going to stay. But yeah, so flip it a couple times. And it's going to start to kind of like bubble up. Just basically keep on flipping it until it's fully cooked. Keep on mixing this. This heat. Once the pan gets pretty hot, it's a good idea to just turn down the heat because it'll cook. You can cook like another paratha on there, no problem. Now you get nice little golden brown. Right, it's gonna start to like inflate a bit. The smell, man. I was cutting weight for a competition, and every morning my son, he loves roti. He'd be like, "Oh, can you make me a roti?" And I'm basically avoiding having breads and stuff. He's like, "Can you make me a roti?" And I'm like sitting there making it, and I'm like, "Oh man." Do what you gotta do, right? But I'm not cutting weight right now, so. Your low temperature. 61 is 16, right? So our temperature right now doesn't even get that low. Wow. Yeah, it's in the morning, but I'm just gonna have two naan or two parathas here. These ones are garlic parathas are really good. You live in the Toronto area and you like having roti or parathas and stuff, definitely look up this product. I actually turned off the heat completely because it's gonna be able to cook it. So I'm just, it's the curry here. Oh, I was doing a Muay Thai competition. So it was like I was at the max number on the age range in the weight class. So it was like it's a kickboxing with elbows and knees. Yeah, can't believe it. That was 3 years ago. I was supposed to compete right after that that one, and then the next year my father was sick. He ended up passing, so I was like, "There's no way I'm going to be able to, put my full energy into it." So I didn't bother trying to compete that year. And then the next year, hey Max, Maxine. Hey Danielle. Hey Sharon. Oh, no problem. I'm just wrapping up. I'm going to be turning off the Instagram stream, and continuing on just the YouTube. So I've got my Parathas done, and just going to serve myself. It's so hot. You know what? I'm just going to turn off on the curves. Parathas here. So, okay, Sharon, I'll see you on YouTube side. I'm just going to turn this off. Thank you guys for joining me on Instagram. Hopefully you had a great day, great weekend, and I'll see you online. Bye guys. Just give me a second. I'm going to switch over and I'll be right back, okay? send them back. Sorry about that. The food's really hot. Curries, it's funny about curries, like take so long to cool down. Just give it a minute. But the great thing about curries is it doesn't take too long to eat. Always want to tidy up as quickly as possible. Right? So yeah, Steph, you asked a question about how to unify to increase the. You know what? Let me read out the question. I don't. It's so weird. Sometimes I get like a lot of interaction on my stories. Other times I get like none. Was it too early? Maybe that's what happened. It's so weird. I can't even find it. I remember what the question was. It was around how do we work together as a community to increase our impact, right? From a veganism perspective. It's a tough question because I think there's a lot of people that have kind of like their own approach, right? Which is fine. You should. Oh, I flipped over, so I took some photos for my thumbnails, and I just got back here. Yeah, so it's a tricky question because everyone's kind of got their own approach to what they think helped them change, right? So for me, just kind of being told the truth was enough, right, for me to be, to make that change, right? Right. So, like, I needed to hear abruptly what I was supporting, and why that was a bad thing, right? So, I think part of the issues we're having as a community is that everybody feels what has worked for them is like the best, right? So, if I try the approach that worked on me and think it should work on everybody, will that work? Is that the right approach, right? Personally, knowing that one approach doesn't work for everybody, right? And you kind of have to, first of all, accept that. Is you have to figure out, what's the objective? Is the objective just, the less, try to have one less animal killed a day by person, or is it, kind of waking them up to the compassion, the empathy side of veganism, right? So, I think that's a unified approach that we could figure out. Is, are we just trying to make more people plant-based, or are we trying to kind of like open those doors where people can now use that that thought process into making what seems to be step by step getting to the most rational decision, which is you most likely believe in veganism, its ideology. Now you just have to figure out how to practice it, right? It's so good. I buried my roti in the curry, so the roti is hot too now for the photo. Yeah, they are. Because plant-based is someone just saying, plant-based is, I would say, is two factions. One, it's, I'm plant-based for my health, or I'm plant-based because it's what's best for the environment, right? Thank you, Sharon. It's so good. I use another product by, I use many products by King's. But they have this vegan mutton that I really like to use in this dish. I guess the question is this. Let's change the topic from veganism to health, right? If you see someone practicing something that is, completely detrimental to their body, right? Would you suggest that they slowly transition, right? Like, let's just say they were ingesting poison all the time. Would you suggest that they do a little bit less poison every day, or would you suggest that they just stop taking the poison, right? Even if they were accustomed to it, the best impact would be that they stop immediately, right? Right? And it's not like we're saying stop and there's nothing else to consume, right? There are non-poisonous foods out there, right? So I don't know, when I speak to people and they're like, "Oh, it's so hard to switch to veganism." It's veganism and plant-based are completely different. So if you're talking about switching over to a plant-based diet, yeah, you might find it hard because of your traditions and stuff like that, right? But traditions slowly change over time, right? A great example of tradition changing over time is if you look at your specific culture, right? So whatever religion you were raised as, are they practicing everything the same way their parents were, or their parents' parents, or their parents' parents' parents? No, they're not, because things have changed, right? Like one, maybe you immigrated to North America or wherever you are, and some of the things that you normally need to do some type of religious ceremony isn't available. So you found you found an alternative, right? Yeah, I agree. So it's great to like um, you know help people transition, right? But I guess the bottom line is this: Can you stand? Can you kind of stand in the middle of something that is accepted as being right or wrong, right? Sorry, I think I turned off the sound. There, it's back. Okay, so let's talk about. I get this question all the time, right? So people become like plant activists, right? They say that, oh, as a vegan, you're killing all these insects because of all the vegetables you eat and stuff like that, right? They're making that argument for what purpose, right? Is it they believe that they're killing less than you based on your lifestyle? Or is it that they just want to justify what they're doing, which is directly asking for, animal suffering for their pleasure, right? So they want to, look at what you're doing and say and justify, oh, what you do is you support this, which is, you know, is also harm, right? So what I do in my harm, which is direct, I really want an animal to die to be able to eat it. We don't want insects to die for us to get vegetables, right? And also most of those vegetables are fed to animals, right? So we always kind of counter argument that with that, right? But really, what they're trying to do is they're just trying to reduce the impact that you're doing, so that they can justify not doing anything at all, right? Now, so the question is, if someone proposes that to you and says, oh, crops kill so many insects, so you don't really care about life, right? Or if they even go to the far extreme and they say, oh, vegetables are alive and you're killing vegetables, right? So let's change that argument from eating meat or not eating meat to slavery, right? So the question I'll ask someone is, do you agree with, or do you are you against slavery, right? And most people, obviously, right, will say they're against slavery. So the question is, did it again. So the question is, if you don't do everything that you do every day is against slavery, then does that mean you support slavery, right? So like, for instance, you buy a shirt and it came from a factory where there's children working in that factory, and those children are being paid or not being paid at all to create the textiles for the clothes you're wearing. Now, indirectly, you are supporting slavery, right? So is your argument someone that's indirectly purchasing vegetables and unnecessarily wanting animals to be harmed in that process? Are they causing harm, right? And you're equating, I want an animal to die for my pleasure, for satisfaction of a meal, is the same thing. So then it's like, okay, well then, if you buy clothes without researching where all the materials come from, then you're supporting slavery. So you must agree with slavery too, right? So, someone that actually runs those factories with slaves, right, directly doing that, to you indirectly, unknowingly, supporting it is the same thing in their eyes, right? That's the logic they've come to, right? Yeah, so almond milk is it got really popular. It doesn't need to be almond milk, right? Like I use oat milk. Um, you can use soy milk. You can use rice milk. I understand milk has become like um, a traditional thing, like for cereal and coffee and stuff like that. But if milk stopped, society wouldn't die, right? So almond milk, there's alternatives to almond milk as well. It's the tough. I feel like my online impact is mostly with already vegan people. People I'm trying to reach, and kind of they seem to not hear me until I say something that accidentally offends them. Yeah, so I want to ask you this question: what offends people? Like, what could you say that could offend someone, right? Other than saying something truthful, right? Right? And they're being offended not because of something you said; it's because of their actions and the context behind those actions, right? So, yeah, it seems like a lot of people get triggered nowadays, and you know, you want to cause a positive impact. The thing is, we weren't all born vegan, right? We were never raised vegan. We learned something new, and we changed our ways, right? It's actually very uncommon for humans to change their ways unless they're forced to change their ways for a reason, right? That's why like veganism is so it's so unusual, right? Like for people to actually want to make a change, right? Like I know we talked about slavery, but think about slavery. The benefit of slave owners to having slaves was so great. What made people want to say, hey, you know what? We should treat these lives like we treat other lives, right? A small group of people said, hey, this doesn't seem right. Let's make a change. And there was a lot of resistance to that, right? Thinking of getting an almond cow? I don't actually use too much like plant-based milks. Like even when I make my smoothies, I know people put like those milks and stuff like that into their smoothies. What I do is I get the ingredients of it, right? So like what I'll if you see all my smoothie recipes, they'll have like oat flakes, or they'll just put like a couple teaspoons of rolled oats in it, and then water, because essentially those two things, I know you can add salt and like a sweetener, like medjool dates or something like that, but that essentially makes the milk, right? So technically you can make your own milk. A lot of people show milk recipes that are really easy. They get like raw cashew butter, and they take like a couple spoons, they put it in their blender with some water, and then blend it, and then they filter it out, and then that's their milk, right? It's like so cheap to make it. I feel you those stuff, because I feel the same way. Like you talk to someone and they're like, they get offended. Yeah, and the other thing is, I ask this question to people all the time, right? Would you drink milk from, let's say, your mother, someone that you love, right? Or your wife, someone that you love? You know what they're doing, the environment they're in, what they're eating, and most people will say no. And then you ask them if they would drink milk from a cow. They're standing in their own feces. You don't know what they're doing, what they're exposed to. If you ever even walk near a cow, your nose will turn, right? Because, the livestock smell, right? Even driving by farms, it's pretty hard to, not want to put your windows up and stuff like that, right? So people are so disconnected, right? Because they see that product in that carton and they're like, oh, that's pure, that's clean. But breast milk from a human, that's dirty, that's disgusting, right? But it makes no sense, right? Yeah. Honestly, when I first went vegan, I was like gung-ho on trying to like tell people as much as possible about what I knew, right? And I realized that you try to step into someone's comfort zone and say something, they're just gonna put up their guard, right? And I will, like, I'll intervene when I need to intervene, when I know it's harmful to them, right? I will say things when I want to say things. I don't really care anymore. But I found one of the best things to do is just live your life to that quality, right? Kind of walk that walk, right? People say you walk the path that you want people to follow, right? So be the change that you want to see in this world, right? The Gandhi's quote. That's what I try to live, right? So am I just going to say to someone, hey, you should do this? I'm going to say, I'm doing this. Watch me thrive, and you're welcome to, follow me, ask me for advice, pick my brain, ask me questions, whatever you want. To me, instead of kind of imposing on people, when I see it, I'll say something, but I'm not as aggressive as I used to be before, right? Now I know that a lot of people just be consistent, do what you're doing, and do it the best you can, and people will come to you and say, hey, you're inspiring me to do this, right? I'm going to do this. But that doesn't mean if you see someone doing something that's wrong, like even, committing violence or whatever, to an animal, you don't intervene. You still intervene. That's kind of your responsibility, right, as a human, as more of an intellectual, superior, being, to intervene to kind of prevent that kind of stuff from happening, right? Anyways, it's getting a little late. I think the kids are going to be coming down soon. Hopefully you guys have a great weekend, and I'll see your posts on Insta. Get out, get some fresh air. It's a beautiful day here. I hope you enjoyed the stream, and let me know if you have any questions about anything that I did. It's a very simple recipe. I came up with this sauce recipe myself, just because I've seen people cook in different ways, and I find this sauce to make curries like outstanding. Like I didn't have any cilantro, but I would add cilantro. Cilantro to curries is amazing. You could take the sauce, you could put chickpeas, potatoes, what else? else, anything like that. Mushrooms. You can even take portobello mushrooms and use them as the meat. It's pretty good. I don't know if you were here earlier, but you can use like Garden's Beefless tips. There's like so many great products out there. As long as it doesn't have its too strong of its own flavor, you can just kind of pop it in here and with the sauce and just let it like cook in there for like 10-15 minutes on low heat, and it starts to absorb everything, right? And the medjool dates kind of build out that flavor, so it's robust. So I didn't even add any salt into this dish, so it's completely salt-free. Okay, guys? So thank you again for attending the stream, and I'll see you on the next one. And just kind of keep your eyes open for the next one. I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing one on Tuesday, but let's see how it goes, okay? Bye, guys. Have a great one. And as usual, thank you for the support. I really appreciate you guys coming on, keeping me company, great friends. Okay, have a great day. Bye. Have a great weekend.